In this video, I'm going to show you an example of what the tables look like. That is, the tables that show the association scores and the relationships with the outcome scores. Again, these tables are in Excel, and they have various components. This is just example. This does not relate to our wireless provider study, so keep that in mind. So in such a piece of output, you get the explicit association scores here in these columns, and I'll go through each column. And you get the implicit association scores below them, the same columns. The scores relate to the associations of whatever attributes you have in your study with the SOI in question. In this case, we just have SOI name, but an actual name of an SOI will be here. And by the way, in this output, there will be one worksheet for each of the SOIs that you have in your study. Again, this is just an example using one SOI. So the scores themselves refer to the probability with which each attribute is associated with the SOI in question, either explicitly at the top or implicitly at the bottom. So, for instance, friendly is 27% likely to be associated with this SOI explicitly. Generous 10.4, and dumb and some of the negative attributes less likely to be associated with this SOI explicitly. If you scroll down, you can see the same implicit association scores, which again are the probability with which each attribute is associated with the SOI in which way, either explicitly or implicitly. So that's the first set of columns. You can see the N, the sample size for each association here, as well as the significance level. At this viewing, we do have just significance level, but we're moving to confidence intervals in the future. So you can see the strength of those associations in our tables. If you move to the right then, you can see that for each outcome variable you have in your study, we have the degree to which each association impacts those outcomes in a number of columns. We have the correlation of each association with the outcome and the significance of that correlation. And then we have the Shapley value impact of that association on the outcome. And the Shapley value impact is much like a regression beta, if you will. It takes independent impact, both the direction of it, either positive or negative, and the strength of it, as well as the significance of that relationship of the association with the outcome of interest. Again, we report all of these scores for each of the outcome variables you have in your study. In this example, preference and amount pay were the outcomes that we're using. And again, you can see the associations as well as their impact on your outcomes here, both explicitly at the top and implicitly at the bottom. Other things we have in the tables are reliabilities of the survey items, if you will, both explicitly and implicitly. The reliabilities are expressed as Cronbach alphas, which is standard for expressing reliability in studies. If you want more on that, certainly get a hold of me and I can talk more about what those scores actually mean. We also have the model R-squares for the degree to which the associations are impacting the outcome variables. So we have R-squares for the unique explicit variables, for the unique implicit variables, and then the total models. And R-squares, if you don't know what that is simply an indication of the degree of variance in the outcome variable that is explained by the associations with the independent variables, which are the attributes. Again, if you need to talk more about what these scores mean, contact me directly and we can tell you more about that. But we do have those scores for each of the outcomes in your study. So that pretty much sums up the information that you get in the tables. In our next video, we're going to show you what you get in the full data file. So stay tuned for that.